the city manager or Mr. Modica, how much money has been set aside for this issue? And then the second question, and by moving these dollars, does it limit our ability to move other funding that we've set aside in regards to the rescoping?
We currently have approximately $3.2 million in Tidelands funds set aside, and so we do not have any general fund or other dollars set aside. It is all Tidelands funding. And what we understand the motion to be is to talk to the Army Corps about spending $50,000 of that to start the rescoping. We still need to go through the agreement, so we still need to go through that 6 to 9 months to amend the agreement. And then we're also going to be, engaging in some negotiations with them to see if, some of those $3.2 million can be used to jumpstart the study and what that would look like. There is a potential here if the entire study costs $3 million and we have $3.2 million and our share is 1.5, we can actually save some money over what we had originally thought we were going to have to spend, which was up to $4 million, either in cash or in kind.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Thank you, council member. Just briefly, just wanted, first of all, so thank staff. You guys have done a great job. I mean, Tom, you've been a phenomenal resource on this issue, always answering questions, being out in the community. I also know that some of our surf rider team is here as well, so I think we have to thank them for really being the advocates consistently over many years on this issue and just kind of moving this to this point. And I think there's no question that this is certainly a step forward. It's, I think, pretty exciting for those of us that want to see an ecosystem restoration, as well as the opportunity that reconfiguration could lead on a variety of fronts. I think we talked a lot tonight about economic development, and certainly there are probably very few things that could be a bigger shot in the arms economic development than a shoreline that's fully activated with the waves and an ecosystem that's restored, and shops that are full, and businesses that are opening up even more so than what we currently are in our downtown. So these are all really great things. I wanted to ask Mr. Modica, as we move forward and start this new process, if we can hopefully time our federal legislative committee meetings that when we go out to DC. And then we last year, Councilmember DeLong and I went out and talked about this issue in particular, and I think that if we can do some of that as well, I think that would be very beneficial and helpful. So with that, there's a motion on the floor. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak on the issue?
Thank you. I'll make it quick.
Mr. Vice Mayor, could I just quickly acknowledge the work of a surf rider on this project and some of the team members, Gordon and Joe, who are here tonight, and some others. Very good job. This happens because of you.
Please.
Honorable City Council, my name is Bill Napier, and people from around the world are wondering if Long Beach, California is playing some kind of little joke on everyone. Ha ha ha. Each and every summer, human waste shows up in the Alamitos Bay. It shows up with perfect timing, sometimes 2 and 3 times each summer. Ha ha ha. There are some people who would start to see a conspiracy. Mark me down as one of them. I fail to understand how it just keeps happening over and over, time and time again and again and again. Ha ha ha. A breakwater study will not stop sabotage, but it will help to try to remove it. Honorable Council, I'm not making fun of Long Beach. Someone else is, and they're doing one hell of a job of it. Ha ha ha. Thank me. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Seamus Innes. I live in the 4th District. I'm the volunteer coordinator for the Long Beach chapter of the Surf Rider Foundation. I have 2 short points. One is, whenever I go to a table event or a community meeting or beach cleanup, we get 2 questions from the people that come up to the table, and they say, how's the feasibility study coming along? I tell them, that there's no movement so far. And then they say, when are we going to have waves back in Long Beach? So that's an indication to me, and hopefully an indication to you, that people are still very interested in this. The other one is I have 32 postcards from the last beach cleanup that say pretty much the same thing. They say, we want waves in Long Beach and clean water, and please move the feasibility study forward. Most of them this time are for Councilmember Austin and Councilmember Neal. And can I give them to the clerk here? Thank you.
Did you have additional comments, or are you?
That's it.
Okay, well, thank you again. Mr. Goodhue.
Larry Goodhue, Clerk, as the address. This is an excellent idea, and I'd like to share these thoughts on it. First of all, I think that the Corps will find, and you will find, that we don't even have to spend 3 years on this. I think it can be cut down to 18 to 24 months. We don't need to reconvene the Council of Trent on this. The Corps of Engineers Vicksburg operation already has the studies, all right? And the beauty and the linchpin to the program that's been advanced here, and there should be no misunderstanding, we will never ever see the return of yesteryear in terms of full surfing. What we will see is by the lowering of the breakwater in 2 specifically designated points as determined by the Corps of Engineers and their Vicksburg studies, lowering the breakwater to the point that we can induce the tidal flushing sufficient to increase the circulation we need to have the clean water, period. The beauty of this plan is if by chance the study is off a few feet, it's very simple. We either remove more rock or the converse, put it back. So it's an extraordinarily simple approach. And one of the great things that I had a personal meeting with Colonel Toy in November of last year, and one of the things they're really interested in is the fact that through this program, Long Beach is going to be able to create a master plan for mitigation. So when we come for them for projects or the Coastal Commission that require mitigation, we don't have to do it on a knee-jerk, damaging ad hoc basis like was done with the Marina Rebuild Plan. And there's a tremendous opportunity to create that master plan. But again, I think we'll find at the end of the day, we will not have to spend the 36 months unless we want to do what was originally planned to fosterize the plan. In other words, make it a make-work project to create jobs, needless jobs for people that would take 5 years to do what can really be done in 18 months. So I think it really is, we're at a very positive point. I think if we approach it correctly, we can indeed see this thing and see the work begin, the actual removal of the rock begin in somewhere between 18 to 24 months without wasting further time and further money. What we will see in terms of the waves, my understanding is based upon those studies and people that are certified to, and trained to recognize those, is we will see waves of about 5 feet coming in on those days in the winters where we get the summer storms from the south. That would be sufficient for boogie boarding and wakeboarding, but not the return of yesteryear in terms of full scope of surfing.
Thank you, Mr. Goodhue. Next speaker.
Hi, Mananda Lee. I'm with the Long Beach Surf Rider Group. I'm the Ocean Friendly Gardens Coordinator, and I live in the 2nd District. And I do beach cleanups almost every weekend, and every time I do beach cleanups, people come up to me and ask me, where are the waves? They say, I'm visiting Long Beach, I'm just a tourist here. Many of them have foreign accents, either international accents or just from other locations in our country. And I end up having to send them away from my hometown to some other beach, someplace to find waves. So I would like to have the waves here and be able to keep our visitors to our city in Long Beach.
Thank you. And seeing no other public speakers at this time, there is a motion on the floor, and all members, please cast your votes.
Motion carries 9 votes yes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next item, please.
Next item is report from the city manager with a recommendation to execute a contract for federal legislative services.
So moved.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, members cast your votes.
Councilmember Neal?
Motion carries 8 votes yes.
Thank you. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
The report from Health and Human Services with the recommendation to authorize the city manager to execute a contract with People Assisting the Homeless for up to $200,000 annually.
Is there a motion?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Councilmember Shipsky.
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor. Mr. West, on this particular issue, is there any way that the city can aggressively pursue the fact that the cities of Lakewood, Signal Hill, and Avalon do not particularly provide homeless services programs, and that this city has taken up the inordinate burden and share for the programs regarding, and since we're part of COG, and this is obviously a grant to provide these services, is there any way we can put it through COG? I understand Mr. Johnson's one of our reps on COG. Are you?
I'll be our new rep.
All right, well, whoever's our rep, because we don't get any reports on COG, so I don't know. But, Mr. West, can we do something about this? Because time after again, the city of Long Beach, again, for this region, really is the one entity, the one city that steps up and provides homeless services at the fact that none of these other cities do.
Vice Mayor, council members, I certainly will talk to our neighbors about stepping up and providing services.
Can we work this through COG though? Because obviously if this grant is winding its way through, I would think that somehow we've got to work through COG.
More than likely, the majority of that grant will come to Long Beach. So basically, Ron Arias is our representative of the COG on this, and through that grant, that's why we're getting the PATH grant that we're getting today from the Gateway Cities COG grant. I don't see any of the Gateway Cities aside from Long Beach receiving much money from this grant except for planning purposes because they don't provide services to the homeless. We do. So Suzanne Price is right behind me. She's working on this and she can answer any specific questions, but there's no question that we do the bulk of the heavy lifting in the region.
Well, I mean, Susan, is there any way, I mean, I don't think officially this city council has ever addressed this issue with our surrounding neighbors in terms of the fact we do take up the burden and many of the people that we service aren't necessarily directly from Long Beach. They may be from the surrounding communities because they simply don't have any programs and services. So is there a way, maybe this, and I don't know, Susan, you can answer to this or Mr. Shannon can, is there a way, some way officially that the city council can take a position and on a go-forward basis about all of this, that we are not going to participate unless the other cities take their share as well?
Honorable Vice Mayor and City Council members, if I can share with you a brief history of what the COG Homeless Action Plan was intended. Started back in 2008 when the Gateway Cities Council of Governments submitted a proposal to the County of Los Angeles under the Homeless Prevention Initiative. The intent behind this was really to increase the infrastructure of regional cities to address homeless populations within their cities. Granted, the city of Long Beach has built an infrastructure of homeless services dating back to 1987, and so we have more of a long-standing history than a lot of other cities do, and dating back to the Naval Base Realignment and Closure Act is really how our system was developed initially. But as we looked at other cities and in the Homeless Prevention Rapid Rehousing, which was Stimulus Act dollars, through this COG plan, both myself and members of PATH, Joel Roberts, People Assisting the Homeless, did a number of presentations to the COG to increase their infrastructure with regard to accepting those stimulus dollars. Lakewood was one of the cities, one of 9 cities in the Gateway Cities Council of Governments, which has 27 total cities, that implemented the Homeless Prevention Rapid Rehousing Program. So really what our intent in participating in this COG Homeless Action Plan is to develop the infrastructure across the region of these 27 cities, and that Long Beach not take on additional referrals from this region into our system of care. We know that within our city we're receiving about 70% Long Beach residents. The other 30% are coming from the surrounding LA region. That's not to say that everybody who comes through our system of care is being served in Long Beach with residential, transitional, emergency, or permanent supportive housing, because we just don't have that level of portfolio resources either. So we are referring back out. It is a regional issue. We are treating it as such, and the COG homeless strategy is really an opportunity for us to get these other cities to build the infrastructure that many of them already have. And I just want to make a brief point that most cities, whether they realize it or not, are treating a homeless population through their faith-based programs. Many churches in the area do outreach to homeless populations, and in our experience in the COG, we found that almost every city had something of that nature within their jurisdiction. We're working to build on that.
And I think that's good to acknowledge, but I think in this case, the city of Long Beach as a governmental agency is probably the only city in this local area that actively and I think aggressively works on this issue. So I would hope at some point, I don't know what we can do legally, and maybe the genius minds of the city attorney's office can figure out if there's something that the city can pursue to require the other cities to take their fair share. Otherwise, we will continue to see more and more unless this economy improves. But I want to thank you for your job, because I know it's very difficult, and you've got a stellar reputation in the community for really having stepped up and worked on this issue, and you're very knowledgeable, and I appreciate that you do that on behalf of the city of Long Beach.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any public comment on the item? Seeing none, there's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes.
I think there was a comment over here.
I'm sorry. Sir, please come to the podium.
Yes, Doctor. Pardon me and allow me my hat, sir. Dr. Garcia, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the council, Omer Uncle G, I don't see Attorney McMays here.
Sir, if you can identify yourself.
My name is Bernard Sango, Dr. Bernard Sango. Dr. Garcia, I want to thank you and your staff for assembling a document I needed of you as far back as October 2010.
Thank you, sir.
I requested for the comment I'm making is about the homeless. I happen to be in the center of homelessness in this town. And I hear I didn't anticipate that this would come up. I'm here, actually, I'm here on a separate issue. And I would like to address you upon that when the time would have come.
And what I'd like to ask you, if you don't mind, there's another opportunity for you to be able to address that issue.
Yes, sir.
But this is just germane to the item that we're before us right now, which is the grant. So if you have any comments, it just need to be towards the grant.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
The grant to please, to the extent that I'm concerned, I do not know the details, I haven't seen the agenda, but I am one acquainted with homelessness in this town, entrenched in it. Uncle D. Andrews and Mama Jenny Orapace and the other people that I know on this council, Mayor Beverly O'Neill, who know Mama Precious Roberts, people who reached out to help us, the homeless. I want to bring the name up subsequent to this portion of what I just heard. I beg your indulgence, Doctor, to allow whatever they can do for the homeless in this town to continue. And whatever we have to do, we beg God's grace to bless our city further. I need to address you further upon this.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Councilmember Johnson? Cast your vote, please.
And please cast your votes.
Motion carries 9 votes yes.
Thank you. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
The report from Long Beach Airport and Public Works with a recommendation to award a contract to All American Asphalt in the amount of $2.9 million plus a 25% contingency for construction improvements of 2 taxiways at the airport.
Second.
The motion and a second. Any public comment? Seeing none, cast your vote.
Councilmember Andrews, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 9 votes yes.
Next item, Mr. Clerk.
This is a report from the police department with a recommendation to receive and file the application of Taco Beach for a person-to-person and premise-to-premise transfer of ABC beverage license at 2099 North Bellflower Boulevard, and submit a public notice of protest to the ABC and direct the city manager to withdraw the protest if a conditional use permit is granted by the Planning Commission and passes without appeal. This is in District 4.
Mr.